Microphone on. I have a few notes first. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed. Therefore, if you are participating in this or the subsequent meeting, you are consenting to being recorded and to the use of those recordings for broadcasting. If you have any queries regarding this, please speak to our council officers. There are no fire drills scheduled this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, please leave the building immediately by the nearest available fire exit. If you're unable to use the stairs, a member of staff will assist you. The meeting will reconvene if it is safe to do so. Otherwise, it will stand adjourned. First aid trained security officers are available within the room and outside should you need any assistance. Members, as many of you are aware, when you're speaking, there is a traffic light system and timer on the screens, which will indicate when you have 1 minute remaining. Your microphones will be operated for you within the chamber. If anyone is attending online, please operate your own microphone. Award recipients, a microphone will be handed to you later on. So move then to apologies for absence. Are there any apologies from absence for the special council meeting? Councillor Bim.
Mayor, we have apologies for absence from Councillor Willscroft and Councillor Skeet.
Councillor McGrath.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have apologies for absence from Councillor Flack.
Councillor Holden.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, apologies for Councillor Barlow, who will be joining us online.
Councillor Foley.
No, Mr. Mayor, both here.
And declarations of pecuniary interest. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? There's not. So we'll move on to agenda item number 3, freedom of the borough. We have 2 individuals to award this evening. I will go through each nomination in turn and they will be moved, seconded and voted upon. Once we have completed both nominations, I will call each individual up to the front in turn to present them with their award. First, we start with the first item to confer the title of Freedom of the Borough upon Alan Barley. Can I call upon Councillor Saida, the Deputy Mayor, to please move the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's an absolute honour to propose to the Council that Honorary Freeman of the London Borough of Merton is bestowed upon Alan Barley in recognition of his contribution and service to the borough. Not only did Alan dedicate himself to this country through his military service, but he remained a member of the Royal British Legion for over 60 years, serving as a chair for the Mitcham branch for over 25 years. Many of us will know Alan as Merton's local champion organiser for the Poppy Appeal, a role which he devoted himself to for almost 30 years. That kind of dedication is something that you'd think only comes around once in a lifetime. But Alan's unwavering dedication has inspired generations to come, and now his children and grandchildren are carrying on his legacy through volunteering through the Poppy Appeal. When I think of Alan's military service, it strikes me how it thanks to the sacrifices of our veterans that someone like me, who's even able to stand here today, why someone like my dad was even able to come to the UK. It was with extra special to see Alan at our recent remembrance event in Mitcham, a reminder of his unwavering commitment to serving the community each and every year. I am a firm believer that it is the little things that say the most about someone. When I first met Alan, he was so kind, patient and helpful that it told me everything that I needed to know what kind of person he is. Alan's selflessness and sheer dedication to our armed forces community is truly admirable, and I couldn't think of someone more deserving of this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Today, we honour a life of service, a contribution to this country, to Mitcham, and to the memory and care of our armed services. I'm not quite sure where the freedom of the borough will rank on Mr. Barley's long list of merits. It's very hard to compete with the Distinguished Service Order, Distinguished Flying Cross, Suez Medal and Service Star, but it is the highest honour that we as a council can give to recognise a life of extraordinary service. So I want to say on behalf of this group and in fact councillors across the chamber, I'm sure, thank you for serving in our armed forces in the RAF. Those years cannot have been easy, but your medals and honours show the courage and skill with which you faced the challenges. Thank you also for serving the memory of those who never made it home and ensuring that our generation and the next understand and remember the sacrifices that were made. Under your leadership, the Royal British Legion in Mitcham has more than doubled the annual poppy collection in just 5 years. And over your time, you will have raised hundreds and thousands of pounds to support ex-service personnel through countless hours spent serving. You've had a profound impact on their lives. And so, Mr. Mayor, it is a privilege to second this recommendation to grant the freedom of the borough to Mr. Alan Barley. Thank you.
Thank you. I call upon Councillor McLean to address the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a genuine honour also on behalf of the Conservative Group to congratulate Alan Barley on being awarded the freedom of the London Borough of Merton. Born in Mitcham in 1933, Mr. Barley, as we've heard, began his working life as a young apprentice printer before serving his country with great distinction in the Royal Air Force. Service that took him across the world and earned him numerous honours for his courage and dedication. After returning home, he resumed his printing career on Fleet Street, but his lifelong commitment to service continued here in Merton. For over 60 years, he has been a proud member of the Royal British Legion, spending the last 28 years, as we have heard, on the local poppy appeal. Mr. Barley, you are the very definition of an upstanding citizen, someone who has given generously to both his country and his community. Today's honour is richly deserved. Congratulations, Mr. Barley, and thank you for everything that you have done for Merton.
Councillor Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's always difficult when you go last out of the political parties not to repeat what's already been said. But since being elected as a councillor in 2014, I've had the privilege of getting to know Alan Barley through countless remembrance events across our borough. Alan has always been there, whether at ceremonies or standing in Sainsbury's in Collier's Wood, tirelessly selling poppies to support our veterans. Tonight, we celebrate Alan being awarded the honour of Freeman of the London Borough of Merton. This recognition is richly deserved. Alan's contribution spans decades. His military service over 60 years as a member of the Royal British Legion, more than 25 years as chair of the Mitcham branch, and nearly 30 years leading the poppy appeal locally. Alan Barley embodies service, dedication, and community spirit. His work has touched countless lives and strengthened the bonds of remembrance in Merton. Alan, on behalf of Merton Park Ward residents and the wider community, thank you and congratulations on your well-deserved honour.
Thank you, Councillor Foley. I would just like to say on a personal note about Alan Barley that it is a great honour as Mayor to be here tonight, but to thank you for your years of dedication and commitment, but also the support you have given me through both my mayoralties and when I was Deputy Mayor 2 years ago. You are Mitcham. Your service is amazing, but also as well all the work you continue to do. I see you up and down Tamworth Lane near where I live very regularly and still doing this work to this day, and you've had an impact on so many lives across this borough, but also as well in terms of your support to the British Legion. So thank you from me. As there are no further speakers, is that motion agreed? Thank you. I will call you, Alan, to receive your award later on in the meeting. We now move to confer the freedom of the borough upon Stephen Hammond. I'll invite Councillor McLean to please address the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is with immense pleasure and indeed genuine warmth that I rise to move this motion awarding the freedom of the London Borough of Merton to Stephen Hammond. I do so not only on behalf of the current Conservative group on this council, but also on behalf of those who led our group during Stephen's time as a Member of Parliament, the Honorary Alderman David Williams, MBE, Debbie Shears, and Honorary Alderman Una Moulton, and for all former councillors who had the privilege of working alongside him. Stephen served as a Member of Parliament for Wimbledon for an extraordinary 19 years, from 2005 until 2024. Throughout that time, he represented both his constituency and the wider borough of Merton with unfailing distinction. He earned a reputation across parties, across communities, for his professionalism, his goodwill, and a steady, thoughtful manner with which he approached public service. His dedication to Parliament was matched by the strong support of his wife, Sally, and his outstanding parliamentary staff, who together formed a team deeply committed to serving local people. This honour today recognises Stephen's substantial and sustained contribution to our borough as a village ward councillor from 2002 to 2006, as a Member of Parliament for Wimbledon from 2005 to 2024, and to the country as a Minister in both the Department of Health and the Department for Transport, as a valued member of numerous parliamentary committees, including the Treasury Select Committee, the Public Accounts Committee, the Regulatory Reform Committee, and the Statutory Instruments Committee. His leadership of many all-party parliamentary groups further reflects the respect of his parliamentary colleagues. And on a personal note, I want to say how much I enjoyed working with Stephen. He has always been supportive, always generous with his advice, and always willing to listen. I am proud, not just professionally, but personally, to call him a friend. Stephen, this honour is richly deserved. Congratulations and very well done.
And I call upon Councillor Holden to second.
Mr. Mayor, Honorary Aldermen and fellow councillors, I am pleased to second the nomination of Stephen Hammond to be awarded the freedom of the Borough of Merton. Stephen has served this borough first as a councillor for a few years and then as Member of Parliament for Wimbledon for 19 years. Stephen is very much deserving of this honour. He did exemplary service for the many residents for so many years and is still very highly regarded in the Wimbledon community. I first met Stephen 15 years ago at a Conservative Christmas drinks reception in the ward of Hillside, for where I am now the councillor. Stephen was very welcoming to me as a then new young member and helped get me involved in the Conservatives in Wimbledon. I'd also like to thank Stephen for his encouraging words and support to me becoming a council candidate, and he put in a good word with the members. We were both pleased that I won the seat in Hillside, replacing the then UKIP councillor. Over a period of 10 years, we both worked closely together to serve the residents of Wimbledon. I often reached out to Stephen for support, advice, and for helping getting responses to residents' issues, in particular when dealing with organisations and groups outside of this council, such as Network Rail, TfL and the police. I was also grateful to Stephen for the times where we needed help getting answers from government departments and ministers. If there was a council matter Stephen was handling, in the latter years, he would often send those items and queries on to me, and I helped him. A good working relationship which we maintained all the way through to 2024, when Stephen retired. Stephen was always community-minded, attended many residents' association meetings, community groups, and religious events throughout Wimbledon, from St Mary's in the village to the Ahmadiyya Mosque in Morden, and everything in between. I was also very pleased that Stephen came as my main guest of honour to my 30th birthday party some 10 years ago, and I believe he did the same for Councillor Austin's 30th as well. It should be noted that Stephen did not serve just by himself. He was very ably supported all those years by his wonderful wife, Sally, who helped behind the scenes at all hours of the day, including the time when Sally very kindly visited me when I was in hospital 9 years ago. I will conclude by simply saying thank you, Freeman Stephen.
Thank you. Before we go on, can I ask all people to ensure that their mobile phones are switched to silent? Thank you very much. I call upon Councillor Alan Brittas to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a letter here, Mr. Mayor, from Nick Gibb, Minister of State for Schools, addressed to local authorities and to me on the 8th of September 2015. The headline is the admission to school of summer-born children. Now, what's this got to do with the richly deserved award we're handing to Stephen Hammond tonight? We on this side fully support that. It's because in Parliament, Stephen Hammond has been an advocate of giving summer-born and premature children the right to start school a year later, to give them extra time for development. In October 2015, he held an adjournment debate on this very issue, arguing that, and I quote, summer-born children can suffer from long-term development issues and a lag in educational standards. And he continued to highlight the inconsistent treatment of these children by councils, Mr. Mayor. Now, I know, and I'm really pleased to confirm that this council gives admission according to the wishes of parents of children summer-born and of children that are premature, as a result of the pressure applied by Stephen Hammond. Now, Stephen is a strong believer in letting people live their lives as they wish. Let's look at his voting on equalities issues. Stephen Hammond has consistently voted in Parliament in favour of allowing same-sex couples to marry. Following the confidence and supply arrangement between the Conservatives and the DUP after the 2017 general election, Mr. Mayor, Stephen Hammond promised to stand up and protect LGBT and women's rights from any potential dilution. In 2019, he voted to extend abortion and same-sex marriage to Northern Ireland. Now, we all know Stephen is also a keen European. On Europe, on June the 14th, 2016, Stephen endorsed a vote to remain in the European Union, Mr. Mayor. As a result of Stephen's campaigning on the EU, over 73% of voters in Wimbledon, in his constituency, voted to remain, one of the highest in the country. And since 2021, Stephen has served as the deputy chair of the Conservative European Forum. I hope you're still on that. And the group calls for an ever closer relationship with European institutions. Now, Stephen has a lot in common with a number of Labour MPs. I kid you not, Mr. Mayor. Ed Balls, Steve Reid, Jess Phillips, Angela Rayner. Why do I say that? They're all great cooks. They all love cooking. The one issue that is really pleasing to me is that Stephen Hammond will allow an auction, will allow a raffle, with all the monies going to charity, and he will come to your house and do you a superb dinner for 6. I'm going to take him up on that. Well-deserved award. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Kohler, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of Merton Liberal Democrats, I would like to convey our congratulations to Stephen on his being made an honorary freeman of the borough, in recognition of the substantial contribution he's made to Merton over many years, both as a councillor for a village ward and as Wimbledon's MP for almost 2 decades thereafter. During his time in Parliament, he held key ministerial positions in both departments of health and transport, and was a member of one of the Commons' most powerful bodies, the Treasury Select Committee. It was, of course, my honour to succeed Stephen as MP for Wimbledon, and as I'm sure my political friends, and in particular my foes, will agree, he has been a hard act to follow. As I said in my maiden speech, Stephen was an extremely hard-working and committed constituency MP, due in no small part to the prodigious efforts of his wife Sally, who, as his office manager, ran a tight ship and a very efficient operation. Stephen and I had our political differences, of course, although I'm pretty sure at times our views are closer to one another than to our respective party leaders. But I won't pursue that thought any further, as I can already see both Councillor Fairclough and Councillor McLean fidgeting nervously as Councillor Gerrard makes a note of what to include in the next Labour leaflet. On Brexit in particular, Stephen stood up for his constituents by defying his party leadership on a 3-line whip in a critical vote. That act of courage resulted in him losing the Conservative Party whip for a period. And now I've seen from the inside what a strange, eccentric club the Commons is. I cannot emphasise how difficult and lonely that decision must have been. It is a measure of the man that Stephen put the interests of his constituents above his own self-interest, and why he so richly deserves to be made a freeman of our borough.
And I now call upon Councillor Foley to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and some great speeches there. I must say I'd forgotten about Stephen's abilities at the stove and how he has offered up his services to cook before. I'm fondly remembered that. Thank you, Stephen. I've had the privilege of knowing Stephen Hammond, not just as a public figure, but as someone who genuinely listens and cares. I first met Stephen personally through my business in Wimbledon Village, and later when he was elected an MP. He took the time to hear the concerns, not just of me as a local business owner, but others in Wimbledon Village when parking restrictions were imposed outside my office. Stephen was helpful, responsive, and we kept in contact. He also supported me as a resident before I was elected as a councillor, alongside his hard-working wife, Sally. Stephen has always stepped up, and whilst we didn't always see eye to eye on everything, we always got on, whatever. And on a personal note, I would like to thank him for the kindness and friendship he showed my family when my wife was ill and when she subsequently passed away, even taking the time to attend her funeral. That meant a great deal, not just to me, but to both my children. And it's a sign of not just a good MP, but a good man. Stephen's dedication to public service and to our community has been unwavering. And I'd just like to say congratulations on this well-deserved honour.
I call upon Councillor Austin to address the council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and it's a pleasure to speak in this motion. I'm sure Stephen feels slightly strange sat at the back of the council chamber with all these kind words echoing around from all sides of Merton. Perhaps he might a quote from Elizabeth Taylor might resonate with him. When her obituary was accidentally leaked, she's supposed to have said, "I've never had such good reviews." So perhaps that will resonate with you, Stephen. I think there's been much that's been said today, both on Stephen's personal qualities, which made him an outstanding public servant, both as a village ward councillor and as our member of parliament. But I too just want to dwell on what was Team Hammond for over 2 decades. And that clearly was a deeply personal, familial commitment to put family, to some extent, behind our interests as a local community, to do what Stephen did in good days, in bad days, and everything in between. Clearly took Alice, took Sally to be on board too, and it's a pleasure to see them here as well this evening. As I said, to be a member of parliament, perhaps as Councillor Kohler is finding out, requires the full backing of your family. And to Stephen personally, as others have said, he has always been kind. He has always been encouraging, and to me, as for some years have been the sort of baby of the Wimbledon Conservative Party, he's always been very corrective. And he often says, "Well, I'm not quite sure I would say that." And Councillor Holden referenced that Stephen spoke at my 30th birthday party, but I reminded him that I was 5 when he first became the parliamentary candidate here in Wimbledon, which was not a statistic that pleased him best. But may I just conclude on a serious note with another quote that perhaps will resonate with you, Stephen, with you, Sally, and with you, Alice, from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. And it's a quote many of you will know. "My marks and scars I carry with me, to be a witness to me, for I have fought his battles, who now will be my rewarder." Well, Mr. Mayor, to be a freeman of the London Borough of Merton, what greater apotheosis can there be? Thank you.
Thank you. And on a personal note, as mayor, it's obviously a great honour to have Stephen Hammond be nominated to be a Freeman of the Borough. I first got to know Stephen in 2002 when we were elected together. And soon after that meeting, we were thrown together on the street management panel, which was certainly an eye-opener to council business and probably good preparation to chairing meetings of the council. But his service has been commendable for nearly 20 years as the MP for Wimbledon, and I'd like to thank him as mayor for everything he has done for this borough. And if there are no further speakers, is the motion agreed? Agreed, thank you. I will now be asking recipients to come forward in turn to accept the certificate and to briefly address the meeting. Firstly, Alan, can you come forward, please?
Right. I'm overwhelmed, actually. I can only thank everybody for this award. Something I've never, ever dreamt of, let alone expected anything like it. I just want to say that when I left the college that I went to many years ago, they always said to me as I left, if you ever have to make a speech, they said, stand up, speak up, and shut up. And so really, after saying thank you to everybody for this award, because I'm overwhelmed with it, I'm going to shut up. Thank you.
Thank you all, and it's a huge honour to receive the Freedom of the Borough, and my congratulations to you, Alan, as well, for extraordinary service, which we heard about. It seems only yesterday that Councillor Brierley was standing up and declaring me the Member of Parliament for Wimbledon. It has been a huge privilege to be Member of Parliament for 19 years and to have been a councillor prior to that. I regard it as one of the greatest honours of anyone's life to be elected by one's peers to public office, and I was truly grateful to do so. During my time as Member of Parliament, we saw 3 of those extraordinary events: a global financial crisis, Brexit, and COVID. And yet what is most important, I hope has defined my time as Member of Parliament, was the dedication that I tried to always pursue to my constituents. No problem should ever be too big for a Member of Parliament to get involved with. And that was always my view. Inevitably in life, you sometimes fail, but that was always how I started out. And as some people have pointed out, and many of you will know John Donne's famous phrase, "No man is an island." And I, of course, was not an island. I've been hugely lucky as Member of Parliament to work with council leaders, not always of the same political persuasion as myself, Councillor Alan Brodus, Councillor Judge, Mark Allison, and of course, Councillor Garrard. I've been hugely lucky to work with Conservative group and members of the local Conservative Party. And as Councillor McLean pointed out, I was very lucky to have council group leaders of the Conservative Party. We worked together harmoniously. And as probably various people have discovered, that isn't true everywhere in the country. I was always grateful for their support, friendship and kindness. And equally, one should always say that as Member of Parliament, you're very lucky and grateful to work with chief executives who understand the role of Members of Parliament and have a discussion with them. And I'm grateful to both Jed Curran and yourself, Hannah, for that. And finally, not lastly, many people have pointed out that I have been hugely fortunate to be supported by a parliamentary team in my office over many years of talented and wonderful people. And 2 of them I'm pleased to see are here joining us tonight. But I've also been extraordinarily privileged and lucky to have had the support of my family. My sister and her husband have flown in from the States to be here tonight. And of course, as mentioned, my daughter Alice, who sometimes had to put up with missed parents' evens and other things. Sometimes she thought that was a good thing, I can tell you. And of course, as many of you have mentioned, not only did she run my office with extraordinary efficiency, professionalism, kindness and care, but to my wife for everything, for love and support over 19 years, to which I'm obviously extraordinary and will be eternally grateful. And very finally, because I'm not quite so good at shutting up as you are, Alan, I've always believed that politics and the pursuit of serving communities is an honourable thing. I believe that 99.5% of the people who go into politics do it for the right reasons. All of us want a better community and a better country. Many of us may disagree about the way to get there, but we all agree on that end. And I think that is absolutely true of the people serving in this room at the moment. And it only takes a few, if good people do not stand up and put themselves for elections, communities, countries and societies break down. And I'm grateful to all of you for all the great work that you do and for all of the time that you've bothered to put your lives at the service of the community in Merton, Wimbledon. I'm very pleased to have been able to work alongside you. So I wish you all good luck for the future in your work. And thank you all very much for this extraordinary honour this evening.
Thank you, Stephen. And congratulations again to both Alan and Stephen. That concludes the business of the special council meeting. We will adjourn now for 5 minutes. I declare this meeting closed. Thank you.